Hi folks, well I've just made the Herb O Matic, or a little herb ladder, for those trays of herbs I did. Look, I've still got paint on my hands. Mind you, it'll come off in bed, won't it? So guys, my mission today, if I was to accept it, is to try and build a herb ladder, or the Herb O Matic, as Chris at ACS suggested. I think it will be therefore known as the Herb O Matic and dedicated to Chris. So I will put a link to her channel at the end of this video. But obviously I thought about it after I planted it, as you do. So what I've got to do is measure this up. I'll do a little drawing and show you me sort of idea on how it's going to work. So the plan is, I'll try and spin this round so that it looks better for you from your angle. I can't draw over the camera. The plan is to measure these boxes. Now I don't think it's going to work out at a 45 degree, yeah, but whatever angle is on measurements, I've got to sort through my pile of wood. I'll show you my dirty little secret in a little bit. Let's say I've got the boxes on here, and depending on size and the slope, it'll depend, but I want the second one to sort of come to the front edge of the one before it, because if I'm putting a little like shelf there and a shelf there, that shelf will stop that from being pushed back, so it's supported at bottom. If that don't work out, then I'll have to work something else out, but that's what I'm hoping. And then obviously plants will grow up, and there will be 3 of these. It's not pretty, but that's sort of idea. And what I've done, I've brought one of these in just to take measurements off it, obviously at length, but I've got to find the depth, and what I'd like that is that to sort of lip onto the second shelf, if you know what I mean. But that's the dirty secret. I've got to sort that out, so it'll give me an opportunity to sort of dig through that, see what's good, see what's not, and get a lot chucked out. I don't want, I could use that, what's left from that rabbit tractor, but I don't really want to. The little bits is not so bad, but I don't really want to get cutting into that big bit. That could come in for something else a lot more useful than a Herb O Matic, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to have a dig through and see what I have got after taking measurements to see what I do need. So that's my measurements. I'm doing it in centimetres or millimetres, whichever you want. 18 centimetres, 180 millimetres for our American friends. I worked on a building site, and a big factory we built for a drug company. We actually did all machines inside, and we had plans in inches and in centimetres, which was a bit of a farce, you know what I mean. So, but anyway, what I've done is I've measured it. The base itself is 11, but coming straight down from that edge to there is 14.5 or 145. Yeah, 110, 180, 150, 135, 13.5. So I've took all measurements, and now, as I say, I'll work it out and I'll see how far back it goes for 3, and obviously that'll go above that, and then above that, pop, 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 and I should have a herb wall, like a potato wall. So I've marked that up. That took a little bit, that was a little bit of fun to mark it up, because I know that distance from there to there is 13. You would think that distance from there to there is 13, but it's not. It's 20. So that makes that 20, but when you go like that, which it will be standing up, it works out at 13 to that line. So So they're my 3. I'm going to rip this down middle for both sides. Although I do have another piece, but that's really naughty. That's not fantastic, that's why it's scrap. But I think it'll do. It's better than that. I'll rip it down middle, and then, like I said before, this is not the wood I'm using, but that will be the shelf. Sorry, that will be the shelf at the front, and that will be the stop at the back. So what it'll do, it'll sit on there like that, although that's upside down. I'll just have to work out exactly where that goes, whether it goes there or there. And that lip should sit on top of that. It should sit on top of this, in theory. You might not see this video, this might not work at all. I'm not going to show you all cuts in that, but I'll just, because that's an odd angle, I just worked it out from the measurements, yeah? That's not like a 45. So that's my angle, and I've worked it out on mitre, tightened it down, putting that to this fence and using adjustable angle finder, yeah? And then that gives me that angle for when I cut it. Just thought I'd show you that. It's not rocket science, but if it's something you're thinking of doing, it might be helpful. I know you can't see properly from here, but I'm lining that up, and I'll just show you what I've done, why I'm doing what I'm doing. I was going to put the GoPro on it, but the GoPro battery is flat, I didn't realise. Lining my cut up, yeah, to the waist side, putting a clamp on it. The reason I'm putting a clamp on it is because what it'll want to do is it'll want to pull away from line. So it's always wise to clamp it up rather than just holding it with your fingers, which does, you can do, but that'll just stop it from moving and pulling line away. Right then, these are slats I'm using. I'll cut them down at the same, yeah. And my slat will go on the bottom. I'll have to work it out which side it goes on. I did make a minor skull by error, but it might not have worked out anyway. Instead of cutting it like that, I should possibly cut the other end like that. But I didn't. It will be alright after looking at it, because I wanted it to come square at the top, you see. That if it had gone like that at the back, down in the opposite direction, I'd have sat against the wall better. Because I'm not planning on putting any legs on this. What I might end up doing is putting a couple of hooks on and eyes in the wall I'm going to put it against, and just hook it up, because then when winter comes I can take it away and store it flat rather than having it as a ladder shape. Alternatively, I could possibly find some hinges and hinge back on it, but I'll see how it goes and how it works out, because it's sort of building itself as we go along. I've got the basic idea, but let's see. So I've marked it up. If you imagine the lip will come to there, yeah, and the pot comes down there and sits on the front of there to about there. The base is 11, but the top is about 15, yeah. So it'll have that slope and slope back that way. I might get away with it by putting the first one on floor. I might actually do that, put the first one on floor, the second one there, the third one there, and then recut that angle. might actually do that. I don't know yet. I'll put it together as it is and see what it works out like, and if not, I'm only going to screw it, so I can take the screws out and recut that angle to go against the wall, which I think might be the best bet, to be honest. Like I said, what I'll probably end up doing is putting a couple of hooks in and then just hooking it onto some hooks onto the wall in situ. It can't slide down, kids won't sit on it, blah blah blah. So it's a little bit tricky because I ain't got any big clamps where I could clamp it together. What I've done is pre-drilled it all, both sides together, so all holes match, and a piece of wood's going underneath that line, as you can see, and all I'm doing is basically holding the piece of wood, the lat, on here, drilling first hole from the pre-drilling first hole, because that's end grain, and screwing first and on, making sure it's lined up more or less, a bit out there but not enough to worry me, and then drilling and then screwing second hole. What I'll do is I'll get this first one on, do both sides at first piece, and then make sure that the tub sits how I want it, because if it doesn't, then I'm wasting my time. So I've got my measurements right. That lip sits on top of there, that lip sits on top of there, base sits on there, it can't fall out. No, it can't fall out. So when I put that last one in, I'll have that one up floor, I'll put that last piece in. I'm not going to take it apart to stain it, I'll stain it as it is. I'm not going nuts on sanding. I'll just take the sharp edges off it, and I'll look how it goes for cutting that back edge in the opposite direction, which means I'll have to take it apart. But yeah, I will have to take it apart, but what I'll do is, as I've put it together now, I'll mark out the rungs for what belongs where, left and right, just so that it goes back in the same holes, because I had to pre-drill it obviously. So I think that will do the job nicely. So that's going to look a bit like that. I'm going to put some little feet on it just to keep it out of wet, put some stain on it, and then that'll go there. Needs a bloody good tidy up though, doesn't it? Yes. Stuck a couple of rubber washers on each one, just sunk screws into them deep enough so that the rubber's in contact. That should just keep it off the ground, you know. And it doesn't get very wet there, so these will have to be watered. But I'll get some stain on it and get it in position and show you the final product. So that's how that turned out. Colour, there's nothing level at this place, but hey, when it's all grown up, it should look alright. And if you managed to get this far, don't forget, click on this video up here, and you've got a chance to win the Mood O meters, his and hers. I'm doing 2 draws, so go to this video and say I'm in, and don't forget to check out ACS's channel. She's a very lovely lady. Nice to be nice.